Well, good evening and welcome to this Sunday, October 25th edition of the Island Stats Sports Show, Football Show. Joining me today is Maceo Dill, Danica Gibbons, and Garrett Punchy Dill. Nikita Robinson will be joining momentarily. And at the bottom of the hour, we're hoping to be joined by Ray Jones, the coach of Devonshire Colts. Unfortunately, they went down 3-2 to Southampton Rangers, but we'll get to that. We're going to go down the lineup of matches today. In the first division, Young Men Social Club defeated St. David's 2-1. The match between Hamilton Parish and Island Rangers was postponed. In the Premier Division today, I mentioned it already, Devonshire Colts went down 3-2 to Southampton Rangers. Crossroads went down 4-0 to PHC Zebras. The Dandytown Hornets defeated Somerset Eagles 5-0. And the match between Devonshire Cougars and the Somerset Trojans ended in a draw 2-2. Yesterday, in the Premier Division, it was Robin Hood defeating St. George's Colts 3-0. And in the First Division match, Flanagan's Onions and Wolves played to a 4-4 draw last night at the BAA Field. Maceo, I'll start, let's look at the matches yesterday. That match last night took us all by surprise because we all chose Wolves to win. But 4-4, was that a surprise for you?
That's a definite surprise. 4-4 sounds like no defending was happening. It was absolutely no defending happened, and in the match last night to finish off at 4-4 seems like we were playing football. They were playing football in the backyard where the score finishes off 10-all or something like that.
Well, believe it or not, it was 3 goals in stoppage time that created that final score 4-4. Wolves were leading, and then Flanagan's got 2 goals in the 92nd and 95th minute. One was a penalty a minute after Wolves had taken the lead in stoppage time, right after Flanagan's had already equalized. So very interesting. Punchy, what score line that I read out today or over the weekend surprised you the most?
The 4-0. The 4-0 of PHC against Exeter.
And Crossroads?
Oh, Crossroads, yeah. Very surprised about that. Very.
Yeah. We'll get into the match analysis in a little bit. Danica, what was your surprise this week?
That one, what Mr. Dio just said, the Crossroads and PHC. Mm-hmm. I did pick the other team, but that's how I guess.
Right.
And the other surprise was like Maceo said, the Wolves, and I was never expecting
Flanagan's and Wolves.
But yeah.
Well, I had a chance to go to St. George's Wellington Oval yesterday, and clearly it was a tale of 2 sides. I'm not sure, Maceo, you said you was going to be there, but I'm not sure if you got there. But looking at that particular game, Robin Hood showed a bit of class in the first half, trying to dictate and control things, especially in the midfield. They missed some chances as they went on, but they looked like a team that have worked out a few things. Maybe St. George's wasn't the team to analyze it like that, but they looked like they worked out a few things, especially in the middle of the park. What were your thoughts?
Well, for me, that score line doesn't surprise me because St. George's is set up to play expensive football. Even though they have a goalkeeper in Freddie Hall that can organize defensively, the rest of the team and the rest of the setup is they're very much open. So with Robin Hood's physical dominance, they was always going to run St. George's to the ground, and St. George's it's been difficult for St. George's to score. So the fact that St. George's is set up to play expensive football is counterproductive to them to get a result. I saw that against North Village, and it's manifesting itself again. To play expensive football, you have to earn the right to do that. You have to earn the right to be respected and to play attractive football. And St. George's has not earned that right yet.
Right. Punchy, you've talked a lot about St. George's over this show. The one thing I did want to say to you, Maceo, Freddie didn't play in goal yesterday. They had Cito Burgess in goal. But Punchy, you've been one of those ones that has been championing the core of St. George's in their structure. You speak a lot to Freddie. You speak a lot to David Signor and Ernest Signor a lot. But did that score kind of surprise you, knowing or not knowing that Freddie was going to be in goal?
I didn't know Fred. I was to the game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I was also to the game, and what I meant is Freddie wasn't there, but the person that replaced him, the young goalkeeper that played, did a tremendous job.
Right, Cito Burgess.
Oh yeah, definitely. And after I talked to him at the game, I thought he said he prefers playing cricket. I said maybe you should just pick the plane. You was pretty good today. Yeah, you were pretty good today.
Yeah.
But anyway, first of all, they shortened the length of the field at St. George's.
Mm-hmm.
That means, right, so now it's width. What I could not understand, again, with St. George's, of course, like Maceo was saying about quality. I thought the second half, they took the foot off the paddle. They just cruised around. St. George's didn't press them high enough. They sent on those young players. They were giving them, they were just, it was like a backyard at the back. They were just playing the ball around. Like, okay, so St. George's players dropped off. They're down 3-0. I thought they should have put a lot more effort in trying to bring about putting Robin Hood under pressure. Mm-hmm. There's still a lack of quality in St. George's teams, George's team itself. I don't think the influential players are playing up to the level that they should be. I don't want to call no names, but I think they have a problem at scoring goals, as we can see.
Mm-hmm.
As we can see.
Yes.
And I did speak to these guys about that. What I also question is the physical conditioning. I tell you, there's a lot of teams I watch. With Robin Hood, with Jordan Barry Newsom, he doesn't get things wrong. Now you add the captain of the national team to the back four. There's quality there.
Yeah.
So they were struggling after 3-0. Now they were struggling around. I still think that St. George is going to have a problem. They will have a problem with scoring goals. Of course, I know that. That the influential players do not play up to the level that I think they should be, and that's my peeve with them.
Right. Let me ask you this question, Punchy, because I in the first half when Robin Hood was knocking the ball around in the middle of the park, especially in the midfield, my suggestion was to take one of the forward guys, because they still played three up front. Yeah. Take one of the center guys, or take one of the top forward players. Bring them back into the midfield until you can kind of plug that area up, because Robin Hood were knocking the ball around them, through them, and getting around the three guys that were there, and then it was almost like a free for all running at the defense.
Yeah, I thought at times, St. George's were just open. In the second half, I thought they should have just been to a 4-4-2.
Right.
Clay and LaShawn Deal up, play two strikers, play all, and just put a little bit more pressure on Robin Hood. They were just. But the point that I'm making is about this, sir. Even if let's say Jerron Dixon, after he makes a pass, he doesn't make no runs behind the defense. Mm-hmm. So he plays a lot. He plays a lot of safe balls. He just plays, and I'm kind of picking on him because I as I said with Mr. Hall and Mr. Signor, that's your most influential player. He must always be involved with what goes on, how the team is playing. Mm-hmm. But he strolls through the game. And that is what I am concerned about, St. George. Remember, that's the worst score they've conceded, 3 goals.
Right.
But they were against a quality teams. You're not going to play the Jordan Barry in charge of Robin Hood. His organization is very good.
Right.
And I noticed something too. I'm not going to run on about St. George's. The coaching staff there, I wonder, the person in charge of the team, who is he listening to? Who's his backup in terms of, look, who's my area? Look, what am I doing wrong here? What should we do? I didn't notice. I didn't see that yesterday with them, and I've noticed that a lot. Now, again, that's my personal opinion of what I see with St. George's.
Mm-hmm. It's going to need some experienced guidance alongside of him to give him that.
I really do believe that he needs a right and a left area. Yes, he does. Somebody to exactly.
Yeah. Danica, the game down at Garrison today where PHC got a hat trick from Keyshawn Bean and DeAndre Derling scoring the opener against Crossroads. Again, here we are with Crossroads They got 2 goals last week against North Village, but they come up again another 90 minutes and no goals. You know, there's got to be some concern there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wasn't expecting a 4-0. I mean, like I said, I've been watching Crossroads every last 2 seasons. You know, like I said last week with Lely and Donovan up front, they should be clicking together and get things going for them. You know, putting goals away. But now come this week, there's nothing. It's, I don't know what they can do to you know, get things going to get them to scoring goals.
Right. Maceo, Crossroads have played 5 games. They've drawn that 1, lost 4, and in those 4 losses, they have not found the back of the net. What would be your message to the coaching staff to try and change things around, you know, to get some goals, stop leaking goals?
Again, it goes to the idea of expensive football, wanting to play football, control the ball. Crossroads is actually set up like that. They actually have some technically good players in the Paul Simmons that sits here and some of the younger players, but they're not earned the right and the respect to play good football yet. You know, they have to become hard to beat. You know, and what I mean by that, if you watch Kenny Thompson now with North Village, it's not the North Village type of football, but he's become hard to beat, and that would have happened. I learned that last about being hard to beat under Andrew Bascom, where he sets up his teams to become hard to beat. So if I take you back to BA being promoted under Andrew Bascom, is because he set him up to be hard to beat, and you know, it was challenging for Kenny to get him promoted because he was also playing expensive football. But now look at North Village with the lack of quality and the players that are there. They're still at the top because they're being set up to be hard to beat, and they're earning the right back to play good football. So when you look at Crossroads, they're actually being set up to try to play good football and dominate games. They're not earned that right to dominate a game yet. So they have to set themselves up to be hard to beat and give the battle players the opportunity to win the game.
Let's go to that match over at Devonshire Recreation Club, because Devonshire Cougars needed a goal in the 90th minute to equalize to finish with 2-2 against Somerset. They had taken the lead through Juande Bascom, but Jonathan Bean equalized, and then Trevon Mean scored for Somerset, and then they had to get a Zarico White goal in the 90th minute. But these 2 teams, if you look at them, Punchy, of late, Devonshire Cougars have been doing well enough to pick up a win here and there. Somerset, after their first 2 wins, were struggling with results. But they end up getting a valuable point because, as we've said it from here, you know, week in and week out, you've got to be able to get the points, especially away from home, if you want to stay out of that relegation zone.
For sure. Listen, Maceo came to the game, and let's talk about Cougars. I think we were talking about the midfielder that's missing. Maceo, what's his name? We were talking about the influential midfielder that wasn't there today.
Yeah. He controls the tempo of the game. Wally Salam's son.
Wally Salam.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You can see him.
Wallace son.
Yeah.
Okay. Wallace. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did see. I thought
so. That's
the first half they were in control. They were in total control. They were actually. I thought, well, this is gonna be like a 3-0. Mm-hmm. Now, my problem is that when you take off the run day, he wasn't playing well. He wasn't playing all that sharp. It wasn't. But the service wasn't there. And then you bring on Mark Steve. So what are you saying? You bring on this, seriously? Really, I thought the run they should have stayed on. They actually, I just couldn't believe that substitution. I couldn't figure that out. All right. And then they tried to move Shakai Casey into midfield, who's not really a midfielder, he's a wide player, making a lot of mistakes. So really, they looked disorganized when they were under pressure. Somerset now, not got a whole lot of good influential players, trust me, none. But when you got Larry Smith and you got also Mark barking in your ear, left and right, there's some decisions that are made. And I thought they just was like an old Somerset team, fight and determination. balls going to the top behind Cougars, balls coming in quick. They could have won that game like 4-2, 4-1. They should have won that game. They should have won the game. Now, it was out in the corner when the ref, that decision for the corner. It was definitely a goal kick. The referee overruled the linesman decision. I was there in that corner. It should have been a goal kick. And then, anyway, it was a goal score. But I'm saying Cougars were the worst enemy in terms of decision making, in terms of the coaching staff. Really, all they done was start pumping the ball up to Mark Steve. Seriously, it ain't gonna work. That wasn't gonna work. So you find them being disorganized, and I applaud the coaching staff at Somerset. I think they're still, they don't have a whole lot of talent, just like Northridge, but they're organized, which I saw today.
Right.
Which I saw today. I thought they had the battle of the game. I thought they deserved a better. What happened to the referee decision anyway? But I thought, out of me, they should have came away with the 3 points today on the Devonshire rack, which was a surprise to me too.
Yeah, when you look at Danica, you look at the Dandytown Somerset Eagles 5-love. I think this was one of the first times that Eagles have played and they've been able to score a goal. Yeah, their fourth game, but it's got to be some concerns up there. I mean, they've conceded 17 goals and only scored 3 times in 4 games. It's got to be a big concern for right now for Somerset Eagles. And good evening to Coach Keita.
Good evening.
Good evening, Keita. Yes, that concern is just as much as Crossroads is concerned. It's they can't put goals. Find the back of the net. They gotta somebody get it together.
Yeah, Punchy, to your message about them taking off the run day. He had picked up an injury. Was the reason why he was taken off. But I guess the formation changed once all that happened, and so did the strategy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just, I mean, seriously, what you do is clog up the midfield, which I do Somerset pressed in the midfield. Those balls that are coming to the top ain't going to get to Mark. Even if the ball goes in his face, he doesn't have the pace. I thought maybe they should have stayed wide, put 2 wingers, and they played a 4-3-3, and attack something from the wide positions coming over. That's what I thought they should have done. I thought that's what the coaching staff just figured out. I think that Somerset, again, I applaud their just fighting attitude. They never say die. They just fought, and they didn't give up. The decision against them, they stayed calm. They didn't act like they just said, okay, that's a corner, and anyway, they go, we solved it that. But it's just for me, just to study the habits of the coaching staff, the decisions they make, and why they can end up, when they should be winning the game, they end up losing. Now, about, if I could say something about, I wrote some notes down about Axwords. Now, 4 years ago, they had the coach that's left Bermuda. I think he's from Morocco.
Yes.
Did you know how he built that team? He built that team on the speed. He built that team on the physical conditioning. I mean, they got now Ian Cook. I think his name is Ian Cook from Boulevard. And they're still not getting goals. Because remember, he's also a goal scorer too. So is it the coaching staff? Is the philosophy? What's happening down at Axwords is they're not getting the best of the players that they have. That's my problem with Axwords now.
Yeah. They're struggling in many areas that they're going to need a lot of help in. And again, Maceo, and you know this as well, confidence has to be lacking in those teams. After the results this weekend, you've got to be looking at teams like Crossroads, Somerset Eagles, St. George's, and Devonshire Colts for that matter. The confidence in those teams right now, I don't care if you have spurts in games, but right now you're looking up at a huge mountain. I mean, the gap right now, St. George's have 3, Devonshire Colts have 1, Crossroads have 1, Somerset Eagles have none. Somerset and Southampton Rangers and PHC all have 7. You need 2 wins to catch those teams, or win in a draw. Where are you going to get it from?
Well, yeah, and 3 teams are going down this year, right? So it's the league is starting to sort itself out. Definitely now Crossroads, Devonshire Colts, St. George's, as well as Somerset Eagles have to now know they're in a relegation battle. They're in a relegation battle now, and that's gonna create anxiety. That's gonna create questioning that's going on amongst the coaching staff, amongst the players. So it's going to make this journey a lot more tougher for those teams. Now, PHC, the likes of PHC, North Village, Dandytown, and Cougars have separated themselves, and Robin Hood have separated themselves now from that relegation battle. That's going to be a different battle that's going on. But it's going to make it very interesting for at both ends of the end of the table. Rangers result today, helped them a bit to say, okay, we want to be in the top half and battling the top half. I've had the opportunity to interview the coaches, and Rangers coach makes no secret about the ambition of Rangers actually challenging for the league. And with all the other coaches that I've interviewed, also Kwame Steed has put on the knowledge of what the expectation is, what the expectation is of Dandytown.
Yeah. Keita, let me just run down the scores from this weekend so I can bring you up to speed. Yesterday, it was in the Premier Division, Robin Hood 3, St. George's Coats 0. In the First Division last evening was Flanagan's Onions 4, Wolves 4. And then in today's matches, Young Men Social Club defeated St. David's 2-1 in the First Division. The match between Hamilton Parish and Island Rangers was postponed. In the Premier Division, it was Devonshire Coats 2, Southampton Rangers 3, Crossroads 0, PHC Zebras 4, Dandytown Hornets 5, Somerset Eagles 0, and Devonshire Cougars 2, Somerset Trojans 2. Now, your first thought, which game would you say stands out in your mind as one of those shockers when you hear a result?
I'm happy for the PHC result, not so much as shocked. Crossroads got a bit of a win at their back last week with the draw at North Village, so I thought they might have given PHC a little bit more of a test. Obviously, they didn't. I saw a bit of Colts and Rangers, and when I left, Colts were winning 1-0. I didn't. From what I saw, Colts had the better of the match at the time. So that 3-2 to Rangers was not a shocking result. They were battling back and forth, but I felt Colts had the better upper hand. Little slow in the counter attack, which I think let them down a bit. Final third decision making let Colts down as well, from what I could see. But yeah, not to be honest, none of these schools are ever gonna surprise me. That's just the level of football that we play in Bermuda. So you see the top end of the table and the bottom end of the table is not a surprise to me.
Right. I know. I can relate to what you're saying. A lot of times when Devonshire Colts had the ball in the final third, Jamal Henry was there by himself, surrounded by Rangers players. So the lack of guys getting forward, I think a lot of them were cautious of the conditions, being it was really, really hot. They knew getting up and down. They're not in the best of shape to be able to do that. But I think once the coach kind of sorts that out, because Shamal's gonna need help. I mean, he got both goals today. Both were penalties. The first one, he was fouled in the box. So he's going to create chances. He had a snapshot with his back to goal, a quick spin. But they're going to need help from other players. I felt Ray's son was playing reserve. He's just come back from a hamstring injury he picked up at PHC. And I think he was still a little worried about it because you didn't see him get as stuck in as you usually see it.
Yeah, I mean, from the angle that I was watching, it definitely looked like it was a back half, a defending team, and an attacking team. Like in the middle, I think Rangers controlled a lot of the middle. I believe was Dante. Who's the skipper for Rangers? Dante. Dante,
yeah.
Yeah, he controlled a lot of the play in the middle. And I think it's just some tactical issues that they have to fix. He does need help up around the box. Shamal does, but we kind of cheat in Bermuda because we're probably not in shape. We're probably not in the shape that we need to be to actually transition fast enough offensively and defensively. So we kind of cheat in instead of pushing numbers forward, and then have the expectation that your players are going to get back to the fan.
Right.
The game is a transitional game. You can't. It's not like netball where you have a set place you can be.
Right.
And players are going to have to be brave. There's teams now that's in the relegation battle. What's their mindset now? Is it okay? We just hold on and hope the rest of the season, or just train and step up? Do guys have the ability to dig deep in Bermuda? Like, or do you just feel like, what, this is Sunday league ball? Where am I going really? That's the difference. Are they going to step up to play for the fans? Who knows? I mean, I was at training at BFA Field, and was a lot of noise up at Police Field. A lot of noise. Before I went up there to watch. So, yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. Our mentality and the level in this country is very difficult. I said to my husband, I said, I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to do this talk show, because I don't know if I can keep watching football, mate.
Well, I mean, believe it or not, our opinions do matter, because people kind of listen and take it to heart. Punchy, I want to go back to that game that you saw. You were saying about yesterday in St. George's. A lot of times, I notice players tend to, when things don't go their way, they tend to kind of drop their heads, sulk around, walk around, only get involved in the game if the ball comes into their area.
Aaron Bowens.
If you had to give advice to the St. George's coach as to trying to keep his players involved, because you saw a lot of that late in the game yesterday, you would have seen a lot of that. Yeah. What would be your message to him?
Well, I have to agree with Keita. I think also what Keita was saying about I just mobility here and movement off the ball. Moving off the ball has been a lot of teams here have a problem with that now. It's like your midfielder, your most influential midfielder, makes a pass, and he should make a run behind the defense to pass come in. He doesn't make that run. So my point is that the mobility of teams, sir. That means if more players are available for me to pass the ball to, then it makes the game easier. I find that people just play in spurts, sir. They play for good 10 minutes, then you won't see something happening for 20 minutes. Then all of a sudden, at the beginning of the second half, you see something happening again. They go get a talk from the coach. It's not persistent. It's not persistent in terms of mobility here. And that's what I noticed a lot about the team. So now, I think Kenny, and I believe, again, make sure I think Kenny's kind of fixing off of this. Remember, not a whole lot of great players, but he's been able to inject that part with the mobility. Ball keeps moving, it moves well, sensible passing, and I just think that it shows a lot here in this country. The mobility of the players, there's got to be the work off the ball, not always with the ball, the work off the ball, which I think is lacking here a lot now. And I think maybe it's also a fitness problem. It could be that. That's my personal opinion.
Right. Danica, let me ask you this. You've seen some games, so would you be concerned that the players now we're into week 5 for some that are not up to football kind of fitness and still got a lot of football to play?
Yes, it definitely is a concern. I mean, yes, we just still in a couple of games into the season. You know what I mean? The guy should be pretty much almost fit. You know what I mean? Or should be fit. Not saying no, trying to get ourselves together at this stage of the game. Whereas, like you said, that some teams are missing relegation zone. You know what I mean? So don't be trying to get yourself ready now. You should have been getting yourself ready all this time.
Yeah. Again, we're hoping to be joined by the Devonshire Colts coach Ray Jones at the bottom of the hour. But Maceo, you've been around to many games, and we're now going to talk a little bit about the fitness level. What concerns you the most?
The easiest thing about the game is fitness. That's the easiest thing to be able to implement to get fit. The most difficult thing about the game is to get the tactics right, to get the technical ability right. Now, in this country, we do have players that have technical ability. We also have coaches that have been studying the game that have great game plans. But now we're faced with players that are not fit. Now, that's something that's very concerning, and that is something that actually happens right down into the youth league now. That's so that concerns me. Our players are actually not healthy. So to to I look at Cougars today, and you can see that now the tyrant. The first two games I was really impressed with Cougars, how they was moving the ball around, controlling the ball. And Cougars historically is a momentum team. And today they couldn't get the momentum going. They were physically tired. Now Dandytown very differently, where Dandytown has a fit team. You can see they're moving the ball around. The players are in much better shape. Now my time as a coach at North Village, what I did, I was a very inexperienced coach at the time we took over. Me and Streaker took over the team. But what we did is get the players in top shape, and the rest sort of took care of itself. So that was the easiest thing to do from a coaching standpoint, is make sure our players in top shape, and then the performance game, better thought process is happening. So it's a big problem for us. From the level of fitness, and that, like I said, that goes right down into our youth league.
Right. Coach Keita, you don't have this type of problem with the females, but in some male teams, you hear the stories that some coaches will have a training session scheduled and 4 or 5 guys show up. And, so you end up having to do the coaching on game days. When do you get the fitness in? You've got, so many guys coming up with so many excuses why they can't make training and so forth. Not all the teams, but majority of the teams have this problem. How do we fix it?
It's difficult, especially depending on what's the reason for keeping them out. Some people have to work. Some players have jobs that actually keep them from training, but there's players willing to do that extra work on their day when they're not got training or when they don't have work. We now have Zoom. There's other ways. Coaches may have to find other ways that they can reach their players and get their players together all the time, even if it's to just get game notes going. But there's things that we have to do more of to make sure our players stay fit, and understand what the objectives of the coach are for the matches. So whilst I would hope that guys are just not going to training just because they don't want to go to training, there's got to be some sort of valid excuse as to why they aren't at training. Is the actions that has to happen. Coach may have to call a session. It may be a Sunday morning session, or not even a session where there's a strenuous one, but just to go over tactics before they actually have their game. That may be late. I don't know. Coaches will have to be creative. Of course, we have, I don't know why in this country. I mean, my girl's training, and everybody says it's training. If it's training on Friday, it's training on Friday. Certain days, guys don't want to train. And I'm like, that, like you said, I don't have that issue, because if we call a training session, our girls show up to training, regardless of when it is. So, coaches tend to stay away from certain days of the week to train. I don't know if Friday happy hour is an issue. It can be. But there's things that coaches will have to do, because the players have to have buy-in, and 4 or 5 guys showing up to train and then expecting to have a good game on a Sunday is never going to work.
Yeah, Punchy, back in the day when you hung up the boots and then you decided to coach, you could see that trend starting at times, can't you? Where guys were making excuses not to train, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. My toughest job was when I went down to Davis. Trying to change the mentality there. When I first took over North Village, remember I was still young. I took the job. I took my coaching courses, but my toughest thing was North Village had graders. They had Andrew Bascom, and then he'd get injured. I had a really good team. All I had to do is make sure we were organized. So that was. But when I went to St. Davis, it was a whole different story. I even took Eddie Wilson, God bless him, to help me with the physical conditioning. But the players weren't really committed to what Keita's saying, what Macio's saying, even Danica, committed to what we are trying to achieve here. And so I found that after the first 3 games, and when we were promoted, the first 2 games, even though we were close, it was just like, oh, we give up. Well, this physical condition is not going to work for us. So anyway, I'm not going to keep. It's really about commitment. It's really about making for the country. That is football. You can bring people back out. They want to see this level of commitment plus the level of ability and technical organization within the teams. So people are asking those questions because, look, people are much smarter nowadays. They get all this information. They know this. So when they come on a Sunday afternoon, you can't fool them about what should be happening. They know that. So my point is, what do we do about this? I don't have all the answers. Maybe we need a boards. Maybe I talked with Herbie Bascom on Saturday. I hope that Andrew starts coaching again. But there is a problem here in terms of what are we going to adhere to? What is going to be our standard set? And we need to set standards that we used to have. A point, and let me give you a point about commitment. I'm going to go way back. I'm going to tell you this. When I first joined the national team, and I'm going to make this quite quick, Alan Jones was in charge. I was 17 years old. We were going to the Pan American Games down in Dominican Republic. Let me tell you something. It was track running up there. He said to us, we're going to be in a group with Panama, and we're going to be in a group with Mexico. Bahamas was there. We should beat them. But let me tell you something, you guys. We have to be physically prepared. So by the time we guys have finished this training session, we were exhausted. But guess what happened? We knew technically we were maybe inferior to Panama, but we beat them. So there was a strategy. It wasn't only great football, but it was a strategy, and it worked. So that's my point about that. Conditioning. And I think maybe that story might help some of the coaches that are listening about what your strategy is. And it really helped us. I'm going to try to tell you. It really helped us, especially against teams like Mexico, who were given like 90% of the game. And all we did just stood physically. The last 10 minutes, ate them alive. Trust me. That's it. That's what I noticed here. Now, what is the strategy for conditioning?
Yeah. Danica, you've watched St. George's, Hamilton Parish, St. David's, Crossroads, those teams on the East End. When you look at the body language, and we could talk about Hamilton Parish of the past, we could talk about St. David's of the past, St. George's at that as well as of the past. But when you see that body language, what's one of the first things that goes through your mind, especially when things are not going right for these players?
That they're giving up. Like there's no more. Done all I can, and and then they just show no more oomph into it. And then like you always say all the time, it's done up fit, it's the rest. They're very tired, slow, want the ball to their feet. Don't want to run for nothing.
Yeah.
If I could chime in on that comment.
Yeah.
If I could chime in, I have a little different perspective. I have a perspective because we're here talking about players, and that's the obvious thing, that there is a problem physically with the players. But the real problem is us that administrate the game haven't prepared them, haven't supported them to get to where they need to go. We haven't made the game exciting enough. So things like this, analyzing the players, being critical of the players on media platforms or whatever, is going to bring accountability to it and highlighting it and talking about it, because that's the piece that is needed to be supported to make the game more entertaining for the player. So in Bermuda, the game's not been entertaining as it once was, so they were lost the quality. So we that coach, we that administrate, we that have the power of the game have to do the better job to make it more entertaining for the players. The players are product of what we have done or what we haven't done. So we're gonna do better for the players, and that process is slowly starting to happen as we're getting a little bit more educated. We're getting a little bit more educated as how to implement certain things. There is science information coming out from a nutritional standpoint. What should we eat? I mean, I interviewed Jermaine Lindo B today, and he's taking yoga. He's starting to eat differently. He's considering a plant-based diet. So it's all these things that we people that administrate the game have to support the players in learning. Now that I get around all the sports, I put my kids into gymnastics. I put my kids into triathlons, and football as a sport has been the worst from preparing the athlete. It's been the worst because it's a team sport. So the athlete can hide in team sports, whereas it's track and field and triathlon, cycling, you can't hide. You have to prepare your body. So football, historically worldwide, we have to learn better how to develop the athlete rather than just the footballer. So that responsibility now falls to us as administrators, and we're starting to talk about it, and we have to be openly transparent to talk about it and call it out.
Mm. When we
So
look
we get
around,
our
Punchy,
entertainment out of our local game.
yeah. When we look around, Punchy, we say having weeks off, like this weekend was North Village's turn to be off because we have the 11 teams in the Premier Division. Do you think it's good for a team to be off, especially if you're starting into a rhythm, or you want to continue as long as you can and then take a break when the break is around?
I think Kenny's probably got that. Probably they're doing some maybe some practice matches just to keep a match sharp. He's probably got him training a little bit more, maybe a couple more days, or maybe an extra day. But I'm sure Kenny is knows about that. I don't think it's going to be a minus for them. I think this rest period he will analyze the team is playing next, which I know Kenny's very shrewd at doing that. So no, I think it'll be in North Village's favor. I think it will be. Adding to what Maceo said about the show, I think the show is actually asking the questions now, and which is very good. You know, it's not always Don playing the players, but it's just that the questions are being asked now, which I'm so happy because I am very happy to be a part of.
Right. Well, Ray has yet to join us. So what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at our picks from last week, and then we'll get into the next week's picks. And if Ray does come on, we will be able to cut us off and then pick it back up. But looking at the Saturday matches, we'll go into Premier Division, and of course on Saturday we had St. George's Colts taking on Robin Hood. All 5 took Robin Hood. The Devonshire Cougars, Somerset Trojans. The first one we all got right. The second one, the Devonshire Cougars, Somerset Trojans, we all got wrong because we all took Devonshire Cougars. Devonshire Colts and Southampton Rangers. I took Devonshire Colts. Punchy and Maceo took a draw. Danica and Nikita took Rangers. So they both picked up a point. Dandytown Hornets versus Somerset Eagles. We all took Dandytown. And of course, we all got a point. PHC Zebras traveled east to take on Crossroads. I took PHC. Punchy, you took Crossroads. Maceo took PHC. Danica took Crossroads. And Kita took PHC. So the 3 of us each picked up a point. The Flanagans versus Wolves in the first division. We all took Wolves, so we all got it wrong. Everyone took Social Club, with the exception of Kita, took a draw against St. David's. St. David's had 2 men sent off, one in the 25th minute and one in the 82nd minute. And they went down 2-1. So myself, Punchy, Maceo, and Danica all picked up a point. And of course, the match between Hamilton Parish and Island Rangers was postponed. So as it stands right now, Punchy would have picked up 3 points to move to 13. Maceo picked up 4 points to move to 16, along with Kita. They are leading with 16. Danica picked up 4 points to move to 14, and I picked up 4 points to move to 15. So currently right now it is Maceo and Kita on 16, myself on 15, Danica on 14, and Punchy on 13. That's how it stands as we are right now. Now we'll look at matches coming up next weekend. And it is a barn burner on Saturday night. Dandytown will entertain North Village out at BAA Field at 9 p.m. I'm going to start with you, Danica.
I'm going to take Dandytown.
You can take Dandytown, okay? Kita?
Yep, I think I'm gonna go with Danny Town. They're in a good form right now. Um, they play again. They play on Wednesday
Yep.
as well. Each other on Wednesday,
Yep.
don't they? Yeah. So that'll be a preview.
Yeah.
Hope I'm wrong. I'll gladly be wrong this time.
I figured you
Oh,
would.
Kita, you're moving away from your
I'll lose
you're
my
moving
points
away
this
from your
time.
heart. You're moving away from your heart.
Yeah. My heart and my hair has been in conjunction all this time. I'm good.
Punchy.
You know, Maceo said, but moving away from my heart. I want to say North Village, but I just think the speed that Denny Town have, especially at the front, is going to cause North Village quite a bit of problems. I think so. So I'm going to go for Denny Town win.
Maceo.
Well, Ken is a very experienced coach. And he's gonna start how to set his team up against any time. Kwame is a very ambitious coach, and now he's got his team playing, very, very attractive football. But North Village is going to present anytime a different problem. Come the weekend, is going to present a problem of Dannytown having to break down the North Village organizational piece. And what happens with teams like Dannytown if they start to struggle to break down the organization piece? That's where questions are going to be asked. Well, who are you? So there will be some questions asked. And with those questions being asked, I'm looking at that game now becoming a draw. The game's going to be a draw because North Village are going to ask questions of Dannytown. They are the lead. They are the current league champions, and Kenny is setting these guys out to be very hard to beat. So
Okay.
I'm picking a draw.
You're picking a draw. I am actually gonna take the Dandytown Hornets. I think they're showing right now that they are the team to beat, and until somebody can actually do that, actually, like Keita said, they will have a second bite of the cherry because those two teams play on Wednesday night in the Dudley Eve semifinal. So it's a chance for both clubs to look at how the team's set up. Because if you go down in the Dudley Eve, you may want to make it up in the league play 4 nights later. So, but I'm going to take the Dandytown Hornets. Then on the Sunday in the Premier Division, St. George's Colts will host Crossroads at Wellington Oval. I'm going to start with you, Maceo.
Whoa. St. George's Colts and Crossroads. They're both they're both of those clubs in desperation now. I'm picking Crossroads to take this one.
Okay. Punchy?
I'm gonna go with Maceo. I'm gonna take Crossroads with the odd 1 or 2 goals ahead of St. George's. I'm going with Crossroads.
Okay. Keita?
I'm going with St. George's.
Okay. Danica?
I'm going with St. George's.
Okay. And due to the fact that both teams struggle to find the back of the net, and the amount of goals that Crossroads have leaked in, I think St. George's could eke out this one. So I'm going to go with St. George's. Then we have Devonshire Colts will entertain Devonshire Cougars. A battle of the Devonshires. Going to start with you this time, Danica.
I'm going with Devonshire Cougars.
Devonshire Cougars. Coach Keita?
Cougars.
Punchy?
I'm going with Devonshire Colts. I think if Ray Jones gets that scoring, if he could just figure out how to get more goals, even with possession that he has, because even against North Village, they have quite a bit of possession. If they can turn those into goals, I tell you, Devonshire Colts is going to be okay. So I'm going with Devonshire Colts on this one.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, for me, Ray is struggling to set his team up, organizational piece to be dominant. He's another coach for me that that is trying to set his team up to play expensive football, and the puzzle pieces are not being put together properly to play football in that matter. So he's leaving himself open all the time to get beat. Vance is figuring out how to manage his team and put the puzzle pieces together to dominate games. So I'm going with Devonshire Cougars to win this one.
And I'm going to go with Cougars as well. I just think right now they're found a way to make things happen, which I think Devonshire Colts will eventually get there, but it's still early that they're still trying to figure those things out. So I'm going to take Devonshire Cougars. Then we move on to Southampton Rangers will entertain PHC up at Southampton Oval. Very interesting weekend of football come next week. And I see Coach Keita smiling because
This is Derby
seems like
weekend,
a lot of
ain't it?
rivalries, huh?
Derby weekend, isn't it? Nasty.
Maceo? Rangers, PHC.
PhD doing strength. PhD is going from strength to strength, and something significant happening at PhD. I mean, I had a good interview with Vincent Coulthard yesterday. He's found a way that not many other PhD coaches have found to put three Russells on the field at the same time. Even though they go by Warren, Bean, and Russell, there are three Russells on the field at PhD at the same time. Last week, one scored a hat trick, and this week another one scored a hat trick. PhD, from a culture, understands their historical piece. And Mr. Coulthard is part of that legacy of PhD. So PhD is going to quietly start to push for a title. That's how I see it. So I'm going with PhD definitely against Rangers.
Okay.
And Marco Warren, if we look at Marco Warren, he hasn't scored yet. But if you start to look at what he's the leadership role that Marco Warren starting to take on, and the link that's happening with Marco Warren, with Enrique Russell, with also Keisha Bean, and the rest of the young players, they start to come together. PATs get stronger and stronger and stronger, and they're going to quietly start to push for a title.
Yeah. Punchy?
I'm gonna go with PHC. I don't think. I think what's with Rangers is that Trey Mean doesn't look like to be in the best of shape. He's still. It looks like he's carrying an injury. I still don't think Maynard. When people speak about it's certainly an exceptional. So that he actually has an influence on Rangers. I'm going with what Nathan was saying about PHC. With the group that is on against Vincent Coulthard again, it's his first time. I'm going to pick PHC in this derby. I think so.
Coach Keita?
Definitely PAC. I agree. I watched them. I mean, I've only watched them once, but what I did see from them, they could play. They just had to kind of get over the Sequoia and Trey loss, and now start to just work and play together for each other and just find their feet. And I think that I agree with Mason wholeheartedly. They're going to surprise a few teams, so I'm going to PAC.
Danica?
I'm going to give PATOC.
Okay. I will make it 5 for 5 for PHC, traveling to Rangers to defeat Southampton there. Final Premier Division game of the weekend, we'll see Somerset Trojans host Somerset Eagles.
Definite derby weekend. Wow. Okay.
Danica?
I'm going to pick Somerset Trojans.
Trojans. Coach Keita?
Trojans.
And Punchy?
I'm going to go with Trojans. I'm definitely going to go with Trojans on it, even though it's a derby. I just don't think that Eagles no. I'm going with something on this one.
Right.
And the herd.
Right. Maceo?
But Somerset Eagles with Gary Darrell helping out at Somerset Eagles, it surprises me the lack of game style that they have there. You know, with his experience. and you've got Larry Smith helping out at Somerset, and you can see that experience is starting to manifest itself as to making Somerset structurally sound. So definitely for me, Somerset is going to be too powerful for Somerset Eagles. The history is going to come into this, and they're going to take Somerset Eagles. So Somerset Trojans will win this one for me.
Yeah, and I know personally I'll probably catch hell for this because I'm going to take Somerset Trojans too. I have to take a Somerset team. So, but I honestly think on your point, Maceo, if you look at the two teams, although Gary's working with Somerset Eagles, Somerset Trojans right now have a bunch of youngsters who are willing to work hard and listen and try to do things, where some of the Eagles players are seasoned and are giving their all, but at this pace and what they're up against, it's just not good enough right now. So, they'll keep working at it, but I think the young Trojans will even get themselves out of a deeper hole and move on to 10 points come next weekend with a victory over Somerset Eagles. Now we'll move on to the first division. Rodney. Hamilton Parish are at home to the Boulevard Blazers, Wellington Oval. Danica.
Hamilton Parish.
Okay, Coach Keita.
Hamilton Parish.
Punchy.
Hamilton Parish.
Maceo.
This game's not going to be as straightforward as we think it is. The reason being, Boulevard's a football playing team, and Sergio Goda set his team up to be a football playing team. So it's going to be an open game that can potentially suit Boulevard because of the openness and who's the best footballers. It's going to boil down to, well, who's the best footballers? The truth of the matter is that Boulevard, because of their footballers come from the Boulevard, they develop the best footballing ability. They really do. But I think Sergio's organizational piece is just going to edge Hamilton Parish to win this game. So I am picking Hamilton Parish, but it's not going to be as straightforward as we think it is.
Yeah. Looking at how Boulevard traveled to St. David's to play 2 weeks ago and went down, I think, and the way that Hamilton Parish has been playing of late, they've had 2 weekends off. I honestly believe that Hamilton Parish will want to get those engines started again, and I'm going to pick Hamilton Parish to defeat the Boulevard Blazers next weekend at the Wellington Oval. Then we move to St. David's are at home to Vasco. St. David's will be down 2 players as 2 players were sent off. They haven't, they were knocked out of the FA Cup recently by 40 Kings. They lost to Social Club today. So let's see how this panel picks this particular game. Again, it is St. David's entertaining Vasco. We're gonna start with you, Maceo.
St. David's gonna edge out this one. The pride's gonna come into play. That they're gonna be home and they will get the victory.
Okay.
So I'm picking St. David's.
Okay. Punchy?
St. David's to win this. Again, the home, like Maceo said, that they're, even though with the problems that I have, I think then the home, they're different cattle of fish. So and Vasco is not really that great anyway. So I'm picking St. David's for this to win.
Coach Keita?
This is a tricky one. I'm not sure the depth that St. David's have. I'm not sure even the 2 players that were sent off, how influential they were or are.
Well, one is one of their better midfielders, kind of orchestrates things there.
Social Club isn't that great of a team for them to go down to Social Club today. So no, they went down to Social Club today, right? Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm gonna go for draw. I'm gonna call a draw.
Okay. Danica?
I'm gonna say St. David's.
Okay. This gotta be a bad weekend for me because I took Somerset Trojans and now I'm gotta take St. David's. Oh my gracious.
Join the club, bro.
Huh?
Yeah.
Join the club.
You're gonna have to walk around this week with security, man.
Well, I probably from myself. Not for myself, but from myself. You see me if you see me down Front Street standing by the waterside, talk slowly.
Talk slowly.
Yeah. All right, and the final First Division game next week, we'll see Young Men's Social Club taking on Flanagan's Onions at the Police Field. And we'll start with you, Danica.
I'm gonna take Social Club.
Okay. Coach Keelan?
Social Club.
Punchy?
I'm gonna go with Social Club, even though this is a tricky one. I'm gonna take Social Club to win this one. Yeah.
Okay. Maceo?
Social Club. They're trying to put together a little run, a little momentum. Yeah. So I'm gonna pick Social Club as well.
Okay. And I'm going to take Social Club as well to see how they can make out back-to-back weekends. They picked up a 6-0 win over Vasco. They've picked up a 2-1 win over St. David's, and now they'll face off against Flanagan, who only have 1 point thus far this season. So there you have it for the picks. We're hoping to have some more coaches join us. Unfortunately, Ray did not come on this evening, but we will look to have another coach join us next week. Guys, a quick thought on Wednesday night's semifinals, because you'll see Somerset Trojans taking on Devonshire Cougars in the opener, and then North Village taking on Dandytown at 9 p.m. Both matches at the National Sports Center. Just a quick closing remarks on those two games, Maceo.
The National Stadium it's been labeled the rare carpet. It's been labeled the rare carpet, and I think North Village in the semifinal will edge out any con in the semifinal. The other match, you said the other match is between Devonshire Cougars
and Somerset Trojans.
Just repeat that again for me.
Somerset Trojans and Devonshire Cougars.
Devonshire Cougars and Somerset Trojans, right? And Devonshire Cougars would take this. They will have back their influential midfielder, and Devonshire Cougars. I see Devonshire Cougars winning this match on Wednesday.
Okay, Punchy, your thoughts?
Well, the second game, if you beat Kenny on the first game, you're gonna really have a problem trying to beat him on the second game. So I'm gonna go with my team. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with North Village on this one, especially for the atmosphere, the space up at the National Stadium. I think Kenny's tactics will kind of work up there for North Village. The first game, I'm gonna go with Devonshire Cougars. This one, I'm gonna take Devonshire Cougars on this one. I thought even though Somerset look a little bit better organized in the coaching capacity today, I still think playing the National Stadium with better. You see a better Cougars team that on Wednesday night. So I'm going with Cougars.
Coach Keelan? Unmute.
First game, I'm gonna go with Cougars. Yes. Second game, hope I don't have to revoke my deal card, but I'm gonna go with Dandytown. I just feel that
Dandytown back-to-back games, guys.
I just see that they're in a good place.
gracious.
I hope I'm proven wrong. Again, I have no problem being proven wrong on this one.
I think she's using
Reverse psychology
on us. On our
Hey, she'll be the happiest loser on this show next week Sunday if both of them go against her. She'll be the happiest loser.
At this point, I can't lose. At this point, I cannot lose. I know, honestly, I just feel that Dandytown is not only finding girls, but they're not conceding girls. So I mean, they're in a really good space. And we have to give them what's due. Everybody's firing right now. So
Right.
that's my picks for Wednesday.
Okay. Danica?
Wednesday night, I'm gonna pick Somerset, and second game I'm gonna stick with Denby Town.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see how these pan out because I think, as we've said here, Devonshire Cougars will, with their maturity, quick recovery, back out to play at the National Sports Center. They should edge Somerset. And that second game, I honestly think it may need a little extra time and maybe kick from the penalty mark because with Kenneth's tactics and obviously with Kwame's out and out ability to have those guys just attack, I think we're in for a very entertaining evening, and it sets a mouth-watering rematch on Saturday night at BAA Field. A little different quality field, but similar style feel for the ball to bounce true, to knock the ball around. And, both these teams like to keep the ball on the carpet and utilize space and look to counterattack sometimes. So I just think Wednesday night sets up Saturday night, and we'll just have to see who will come out on top. Okay? Well, guys, I do want to thank you again for joining. We'll be back next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. to see who has taken the lead and see if Coach Keita, 2 predictions. We're only looking for 2 predictions for this week for Coach Keita. She's either going to be smiling because she picked them right or smiling because she got them both wrong. One way or the other.
She's going to be smart.
She is going to be smiling. Well, guys, have a good night. See?
You too.
All right, Jay.
Yes. Good night, guys.
All right.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.